Guys, this is the Genetics Questions podcast, and I started off on the front sheet here because I want you to really take on board the importance of these things I've mentioned here. You've got to learn these terms. You've got to learn the terms of chromosome, gene, allele, homozygous, heterozygous, dominant, recessive, genotype, phenotype. You've got to know them. It's going to be a question of being able to say what it is, probably for a couple of marks, and they are just factual. You must be brave here, though, in this topic, because it does have some complex things, and if you don't understand one, you've got to talk to me. Okay, so that's the premise. Let's move on and look at some questions. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through these questions, and hopefully we'll probably revise some of the stuff that I've just mentioned anyway. Okay, so question one. When humans reproduce, chromosomes and genes are passed on to the next generation. That happens, by the way, via sperm and eggs. Their gametes produce meiosis. Okay. In each of the following questions, draw a ring around the correct answer to complete the sentence. A gene is a small section of. Okay, well, let's go through these. If you know the definitions I've just talked about, your mark is easy here. For a gene is a small section of DNA that codes for a protein. That is what it is. Okay, so if we've got two chromosomes here, you might have the eye color gene here, and this one, this chromosome has the eye color gene, and this section on the chromosomes will determine eye color. And it will do that by producing a blue pigment. That is the protein that will be made. Okay, so eye color is a gene that decides what color the pigment of the eyes is going to be, and that will be a protein. So, just to be clear here, a gene is a section of DNA that codes for a protein. That's the definition. That's what you've got to know. Okay, so know that as a definition. So, B, the sex chromosome in the human males are, this comes back to just knowing that a female is XX and a male is XY. So the answer is X and Y. Just to very quickly explain that again, the egg is always X in a female, and a sperm could be one of two things. The sperm could be an X or it could be a Y. And if an X sperm meets a egg, which is always X, you get a girl. If the Y sperm hits the egg, which is always X, you get an XY, which is a boy. So, once again, you can get the mark for not understanding that, but in your, as long as you know about boys being X and Y, but your questions in your exams might be asked about explaining why it is. That's the reason. Most human body cells, and I hope you've seen a few of my podcasts now, body cells. Body cells is the crucial term here, because there's two types of cells that they talk about in your exams. There's body cells and gametes. And body cells are just normal cells, and you should know that normal body cells have 46 chromosomes in two pairs. So 23 pairs, okay? And in those 23 pairs, the reason they're in pairs is that the red ones might have come from the woman in the egg, and the blue ones might have come from the father in the sperm. Okay, so 46 chromosomes is made up of 23 chromosomes from the mother and 23 chromosomes from the father, and so therefore there's 23 pairs. Okay, so hopefully you're okay with this. the number of chromosomes in a human gamete cell is the same number as body cells, half the number, or twice the number? Well, hopefully you are aware that it's half the number. And that is because when you have 46 in a normal cell, meiosis turns it into 4 daughter cells that have 23. Okay? And that is because if the gamete has 23 and it meets another gamete, then we get the full 46 back when there's fertilization, when fusion occurs. Now, one thing to say here is that 46 cannot be made into 4 lots of 23. So one of the first things that happens in meiosis, by the way, is that all the chromosomes are copied. And so you actually double the genetic material before it's split. Okay, 4 times. So, gametes have 23 chromosomes, body cells have 46. Hopefully, this is all going well, and there should be nothing in here that you shouldn't know. Gametes are produced by fertilization, meiosis, or mitosis. Well, body cells are produced by mitosis, and the way to remember that is your toes are just normal body cells. You know, they're not made of sperm and egg. So mitoses are body cells, and that's mitosis. Fertilization is when the sperm and egg fuse together, and the answer should be, as you hopefully know, meiosis is the way that gametes are produced. So 5 marks for that question. I'm really hoping that you have been able to do that quite simply. They will revolve, look at the way that the questions are asked, they revolve around you knowing the background information. One last thing is, when you look at this kind of question, do not just do the question and think, oh yeah, that's fine. Because you will be asked in a different way. And like I said here, a gene is a small section of DNA. It's a small section of DNA that codes for a protein. Don't be lazy and think, oh yeah, I know that's DNA, because it may not be as simple in your exam. So you learn the whole definition and know that the answer is DNA because you know the whole definition, not because you're making your best guess from the 3 they've given you. Okay? Understand why males are X and Y. Know that most human cells contain 46 chromosomes in 23 pairs, 1 from each of the parents. Know that the number of chromosomes in a gamete is half the number as in body cells, because meiosis produces cells with 23 chromosomes rather than 46. And know that gametes are produced by meiosis. Okay? So, that's question 1. Hopefully, you're okay with that.